Time now for a look at all today's French newspapers with our press reviewer, Florence VILLEMINOT.
Hello,
Florence. A lot of papers then here in France reacting to quite a controversial tax that the government is thinking about putting in place.
That's right. It's a pretty Franco-French story, so I'm going to try to walk you through it. In France, when you have children, like in other countries, you get a benefit from the state, and this is called an allocation familiale. The idea is to encourage people to have children. Well, the government is thinking about taxing this child benefit. So depending on people's revenue, they would be taxed more or less on the child benefit, and the idea is for the state to raise money. So La Tribune points out that the government has broken the taboo on the child benefit, because La Tribune says this is a hot potato that politicians have been tossing around for the past years, because everybody agrees that this child benefit system needs to be reformed, but nobody wants to do it. Aujourd'hui en France also takes a closer look at what they call this explosive issue, and they wonder if President François Hollande is actually going to dare reform it. And according to the government, they're saying, look, this is a way for us to save money. This would be a fair and effective way to do it. But if we take a closer look at this cartoon, we can see how a lot of people are actually quite upset about this. And you see the man there talking to his children, and he says, kids, you think it's an investment for the future, but you never stop dishing out the cash.
Well, meanwhile, politicians on both right and left are quite hesitant about putting in place those reforms. This is a bit of a sacred cow, isn't it?
That's right. It's well, you know, family matters are such a hot button issue here in France, and so are benefits. So Le Figaro takes a closer look, and it points out that on the left, a lot of politicians are saying, yes, okay, let's talk about reform, but maybe let's not reform quite yet. Meanwhile, the right is really outraged about this. Politicians are calling it a makeshift job on the part of the government, a diversion in a way for the government to seem like they're actually doing something about the deficit. But what this really is yet another tax, a tax that's going to hurt the middle class.
Okay, well, we're going to move on now to Libération, the left-leaning paper, and they have a special issue dedicated to Italy. That's ahead of general elections there.
That's right, and Libération says it's not really a pretty picture. Here it is on the front page, Voyage dans une Italie en crise, so a voyage through crisis Italy. And basically, Libération sent reporters from Milan in the north to Palermo in the south and Sicily, and they stopped off in Pompeii, actually, and they point out that, like other ancient Roman ruins, it's falling into ruins as well. They describe a site that's completely in decay, with weeds growing everywhere, famous frescoes that are fading due to a lack of attention, wild dogs everywhere. And the reporters from Libération say that the famous site has really been neglected by authorities due to budget cuts, but also corruption.
So that's become a bit of an election issue, presumably. But moving on now to another story. La Tribune is investigating how that Swedish frozen foods giant Findus is trying to save its reputation after the horsemeat scandal.
That's right, and La Tribune says that Findus is trying to disassociate itself from the scandal, and to do so, it's hired an e-reputation agency. I didn't know these things existed, but they do. This one is called a Reputation Squad, and its job is to clean up the web from any embarrassing posting. So the main target is headlines, actually. Headlines that associate the word Findus with affair, fraud, or dishonesty. And in fact, the agency contacted La Tribune and asked them to change some of their headlines, which La Tribune refused to do for editorial reasons. They said they didn't want to rewrite history. Findus says it's a victim in all this. It says that it's the one that sounded the alarm. And some communications experts say that actually this could be an opportunity for Findus. It could make lemonade out of lemons, because this is a great PR opportunity. Everybody's watching, so Findus can maybe turn the situation around.
And experts say humour is the key to that. Lots of horse-based adverts perhaps coming up. But finally, the Beckhams have arrived in Paris. Everyone's very excited.
That's right. They're here. They arrived last night at 8:47 p.m. I don't know if you felt the ground rumble.
Exact, isn't it?
So David Beckham, his wife Victoria, and the 4 kids, they came on the Eurostar, actually, and they were immediately swamped by paparazzi. Beckham mania has taken over Paris, says Aujourd'hui en France. The plan for them is to visit the capital today, and then Beckham will have his first practice with Paris Saint-Germain. If he plays on Sunday against Marseille, he'll be the 400th player in history to wear the Paris Saint-Germain's jersey. So it seems like he has everything going for him.
Yeah, it's likely he might be turning out. And if you're out and about in Paris today, who knows, you might even run into them. Thank you very much indeed, Florence, for that look at today's papers.